Good afternoon, friends. I am Margaret Sayers, and I serve as clerk of the Abington Friends School Committee. Before we begin, let's join together in a moment of silence in the manner of friends. Thank you. In my role as school committee clerk, I enjoy most the traditions that open and close the school year. And among those, commencement is my favorite. But after only 2 years in this role, I found it difficult to think of a fresh way to welcome all of our guests. But then I remembered that I am a Quaker, and I am addressing a Quaker school community in a grove in front of a 300-year-old Quaker meeting house. And simplicity is a core value of the Quaker faith. So on behalf of the school committee, and in the simplest of language, I would like to welcome you to the celebration of the class of 2015. Go ahead. As we close Abington Friends School's 318th year. I would like to offer a special welcome to a few groups. I would like to recognize the amazing young men and women who are standing behind me. Our exceptional parent community. And our extraordinarily talented faculty, and this year we have included our faculty alums. So before I sit down, I want to express gratitude to the many individuals who worked together to create this magical afternoon. I would like to thank the class of 2016 and their advisors for making the beautiful daisy chain to honor our graduates. Gratitude also goes to the senior advisors, and especially Aaron Bingston, for all their hard work getting the seniors ready for their big moment. Much appreciation to our student and guest musicians under the direction of Mark Kraft, and the upper school chorus under the direction of Jane Swank. Many thanks to our first grade teachers, Susan Arteaga and Caroline Stritzinger, for preparing the first graders, and of course, to our first grade students. And finally, sincere gratitude to our lower school music director, Adine Larkin, who will now lead the class of 2026 in a song. Thank you.
Good afternoon, friends, families, members of the community, my mom Kate. Mom, how are you? And of course, good afternoon to my fellow graduates. My name is Doug Garza, and I've been at AFS in 7th grade, and I'm the last of 3 siblings to graduate. It is truly an honor to have been chosen by my classmates to speak on their behalf. I am 95% sure that was a mistake. But as statistics teaches us, 95% confidence is not 100% certainty, so I'm up here speaking with you anyway. It is a little surreal to be standing here in the Grove, knowing that my long and winding journey through Abington Friends School is all but a memory now. Yet here we are, standing before you, the 318th graduating class of AFS. I refer to us as the 318th class rather than the class of 2015, because at the beginning of our sophomore year, our then grade dean, Rusty Regal-Budo, gave us a choice. He asked us if we wanted to be known as the class of 2015 or the 318th class. We unanimously chose to be called 318 because it embodies the long and vital history of AFS. It represents an educational tradition older in which the country in which it resides. And we, 318, have left our own legacy by immersing ourselves in the long-standing traditions like Arbor Day, Daisy Chain, and Candlelight Dinner. Graduating from AFS means that it is time for us to go out into the real world and leave behind those less formal but unique daily traditions that we have grown to love, like calling teachers by their first names. Except for you, Miss Parr. Or navigating the 7-day schedule, or walking through the cemetery to get to meeting for worship. We will also have to forego the tradition of beginning our day together as an entire school community. We are moving on to a time in our lives where we will never again experience morning assembly, even though up until now gathering of the whole school every morning just seemed natural. We will be on our own. Many among this class have spent more than half of their lives at AFS, and it has become a second home for all of us. It is a place where you can play chess with your physics teacher at lunch and lose. Jordan Berkey, I want one more game. It is a place where your biology teacher may or may not teach class with a pet rat on her shoulder. This second home that has nurtured us since we were wide-eyed children has truly become a family that we, 318, will miss dearly. In the box office hit, Furious 7, Vin Diesel once said, "I don't have friends, I got family." Vin, even though your acting is questionable, I couldn't have said it better myself. This is my family. The truth is, I'm terrified to leave this family and go off to college. We're all venturing to unpredictable places next year with mascots that are not nearly as inviting as kangaroos, such as spiders, wildcats, blue devils, owls, and even the formidable oranges. Sam and Jonah, I'm looking at you.
Love you, Doug.
But I know we have the tools we need to succeed because of how we have been supported and cared for at AFS. I'm not incredibly smart, nor am I incredibly talented, and despite what my mom says, I'm not perfect. Sorry, Mom. But AFS has given us a gift that not many people in the world get. We weren't taught what to think, we were taught how to think. And that is the most important gift anyone could ever receive. Many of us are leaving 2 homes this summer, and although we can't take these traditions or this family off to college next year, we can take the knowledge and the wisdom AFS has taught us. 318, as we bid our farewells and fill the parting glass, I only have one final message for you. The world is ours to inherit. Now it's time for us to embark on our ceaseless journeys into the future. But we must never forget where our futures began, right here at AFS. Thank you.
Good afternoon, buenos tardes, xia wu hao, bon après-midi, dobre dien, bon pomeriggio, xin jiao, and welcome, educators, families, friends, and members of the class of 2015. My name is Nina Bedrick, and I've been at Abington Friends School since kindergarten. each language that I just attempted to pronounce, a member of this class can speak fluently. Those 7 languages are just the beginning of what makes the voices in this graduating class so unique. Voice. It is the most basic form of communication. We know it's easy to talk, loudly and often. Just ask our parents. But for each individual in this class to have a voice, to express deeper thought, to debate and discuss with insight and passion, to advocate for the good, that is the voice this community has encouraged us to develop. Voice for us is a telling thing about each individual in this class. Over the years, our peers and wonderful teachers have helped us develop our voices. We have stopped anatomy lessons to hear students' opinions. As students, we have taught lessons in geometry, and some of us have shared our deepest poems with members of the community. Through workshops, classes, and experiences such as Many Voices One Community Day, AFS has dedicated time to ensure that our voices are heard. By learning to speak from the I perspective, we have come to listen, accept, and respect the multiple truths can exist at one time, and that each person in this class has a different and equally valuable voice. The diversity of our opinions is vast, and we embrace that. Like everything at Abington Friends, finding one's voice and finding the voice of this class has been a long process. Growing up here, I've been able to hear the voices of this class transform along with my own. Personally, I think I've come a long way since screaming at Ben and Josh for knocking over my tower of blocks in first grade and receiving a timeout. No worries though, that was my only timeout ever, I promise. Since then, things have changed from yelling over destroyed block towers. By cheering on sports teams and robotics, participating in plays and musical productions, and leading spirit competitions. Correction, winning spirit competitions. We have all discovered our passions and talents and finally formed a unified class voice. Funny enough though, it is through the silence of meeting for worship, in particular, that students have been taught that our voices are sacred and to trust the wisdom of our inner spirit. To stand up and speak one's innermost beliefs takes confidence, and I can say without a doubt that this community has supported every member of this class in gaining that confidence. I've heard my classmates share their biggest fears, their toughest obstacles, and their true identities. One of the most beautiful things about meeting for worship to me is what happens once it is over. If a person has shared and their message has resonated with members of the community, peers will approach the speaker and say something along the lines of, "Hey, just wanted to let you know that your message in meeting really moved me today." This kind of support, no matter how brief, reminds any individual that their voice and message has been heard and supported. So, class of 2015, now that we have each found our voice, what will we say? As we travel and immerse ourselves into different communities, we must remember that our voices matter. We must remember that this class and this community support us. I encourage each of us to continue to let our voices be heard and to develop our voices further, because they will make a difference wherever we go. And hey, if someone knocks down your tower of blocks, it doesn't always hurt to yell a little. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Bridget Worlier, and I have the honor of introducing tonight's keynote speaker, a graduate of Abington Friends School, as I will be very soon, along with the class of 2015. When I was younger, I learned the power of telling a story when I would listen to my mom read stories from the Bible. I loved how she brought everything to life, allowing me to imagine each prophet and incident as she spoke. As I grew up, I realized my passion for words and for sharing my story. AFS welcomed my words and my stories with open hearts and open ears. At times, it was hard and even scary to be so vulnerable and expose my stories to other people. But one quote by the poet Audre Lorde, who is an inspiration to me, speaks volumes about this fear. She says, "My fullest concentration of energy is available to me only when I integrate all parts of who I am openly, allowing power from particular sources of my living to flow back and forth freely through all my different selves, without the restrictions of externally imposed definitions. Only then can I bring myself and my energies as a whole to the services of those struggles which I embrace as part of my living. It has been my teachers and mentors at AFS who have helped me find this power to express the many parts of who I am, to tell the stories of my struggles, and to experience my own power. Inspiration from Audre Lorde, the love of writing, and telling my story are characteristics that I share with our guest speaker, poet Robin Becker.
Congratulations, members of the AFS Class 318. And congratulations to the parents, families, friends, faculty, and staff who made the journey with this group of young people. In preparation for this commencement address, I asked many friends if they remembered the name of the person or persons who spoke at their high school graduations. No one could remember a single person. If nothing else, graduates, I hope you will remember that an AFS alum at your commencement read a poem she'd written about a basset hound. Why am I going to read you this poem? Because love and beauty surprise us, occur when we're not expecting them. And one thing I took and hope you will take from an AFS education is an openness to both. Here's the backstory to the poem. Years ago, my partner's sister asked her to care for her basset hound for a year while she took a job overseas. I was against it. The dog's ungainly body, unattractive smell, and oily skin put me off. My partner already had a dog, and I didn't want the additional burdens imposed by another. Here's what happened. In praise of the basset hound. This unlovely dog, with warts and a terrible stink common to the breed, legless as a walrus, teaches me to pursue my life with devotion. Steadfast enthusiast of fisher cat and vole, she relies now almost entirely on scent and sings her hound's song of pleasure when we come close enough for her to hear her name. In snow above her shoulders, she tracks our skis, when all we can see is her metronome tail, tipped in black, sweeping the horizon a mile back. We keep her incontinent in an old shed behind the farmhouse, a wire fence around her run. Warm days, nose in the air, she sits like an old retiree in the sun, listening to warblers build their spring nests. Her warts ooze green phlegm. Still, I kiss her and hold her against my breast. She who whelped 12 litters before someone took pity and bought her from the breeder. Never permitted to lick hand or face, she will not disgrace her training and extend her tongue in play, though I offer my cheek. Daily, she shows me the meaning of character. Loping painfully on swollen paws, I apply salve to her scaly folds. I croon over her. Who among us has not been moved by the magnificence of mute creatures in their abundant dying skin? Yes, I fell in love with the dog. And I learned a lot from her. From the creature's large heart and good nature, her willingness to exert herself, her determination, her efforts in the face of failing health. The lesson, let love and beauty surprise you. Graduates, look to the student sitting on your right and shake that student's hand. Look to the student on your left and shake that student's hand. These are the friends you will know 10 years, 20 years, 30 years from now. I gather every few years with classmates from, yes, 46 years ago. And we're amazed at the closeness we feel to one another. Abington Friends gave me these friends. Importantly, AFS taught me how to be a friend. Since graduating from Abington Friends, I have spent my life among college students. First as a college student myself, and then at 23, beginning a 38-year-long career in the university classroom teaching creative writing. All those years with young people between 18 and 22 showed me again how fortunate I was to have attended AFS. Why? Because at AFS, I learned how to explore in two great ways. I learned how to concentrate and focus as an individual, and I learned how to work cooperatively as a group member. And I know that you, 318, have learned how to explore as well. In robotics and engineering, in the high school critics drama program, in leading challenging conversations about diversity and inclusiveness. College isn't about knowing ahead of time what you want to study or what you want to be when you grow up. It's about adventure, about opportunities. It's about disciplines you may not even have heard of yet, about meeting people from all over the world, about discovering and cultivating aspects of yourself. AFS has nurtured in you, as it nurtured in me, the skills to do this. As the privilege of having attended Abington Friends will always be with you, so will the responsibility to do good work in the world. I know you will. Because every commencement speech must include some advice, here's mine. Remember that good manners cost nothing, open doors, and make people feel appreciated. Always write a thank you note. Reach out to someone who seems lonely. Take that art history or Baroque music or contemporary literature class that calls to you. Sing. Drink responsibly. Take care of that body of yours. It's the only one you have. Laugh with others. And remember, you will probably come across a basset hound. And thanks to AFS, you have the skills to make the most of that encounter. Thank you.
Good evening. I am Cora Pokrivka, and I'm here to represent the Senior Class Gift Committee, which includes myself, Dorian Corrine, and Chip Starr. This year, our committee worked hard to reflect on what we believe our class identity is, and how our class fits into the greater AFS community. We collectively agreed that one of our strongest and most apparent qualities is our ability to integrate ourselves with all other grades and be welcoming and warm to those younger than we are. We value inclusion and the idea of students uplifting other students. It was difficult to choose a gift that reflected this sentiment. we thought about community spaces that are shared amongst all grades and settled on the idea of the farmhouse as an open place where all grades mingle. Several years ago, on the grassy incline behind the farmhouse, a tree was taken down. We have decided to replant that space with a maple tree. In addition, we will also furnish the area near the farmhouse with a class of 2015 bench. We imagine students sitting underneath the tree and on the bench, eating lunch, studying for finals, and coming together for the sake of friendship and shade. Trees are a constant, providing cool, shady spaces and inviting all to sit, rest, and enjoy the outdoors. Though we may be off in the world, our tree and our bench will remain for years to come as welcoming spaces for anybody who wishes to use them.
Thank you, Cora, Dorian, Chip, and the class of 2015. I am pleased on behalf of the school to accept your gift of a maple tree and a bench. The tree that was taken down several years ago was a very large American elm that provided shade for generations of Abington Friends students. It was there when you were here. It seems appropriate that your class, a group that values community and friendship, would provide another tree that will grow tall and beautiful and invite many more students to relax under its branches. The addition of a bench will serve as another invitation for adults and students to gather and enjoy each other's companionship. When you return next November for homecoming, we look forward to dedicating the tree and bench to your class, the 318th class of Abington Friends School. Thank you so much.
And I have the precarious position of having this last moment to speak briefly with you as a class for one last time. So thank you for bearing with me for just a moment. In my second year of teaching, I learned a really powerful lesson about teaching and students. There was a trio of three brothers, the King brothers, Toby, Eric, and Andy. I still remember them well. That second year of my teaching, they were in 8th grade, 6th grade, and 3rd grade. They're a lively trio. They were full of mischievous energy. They were great kids, but they were rascals too. They loved a good time. They teased each other readily, and they were just fun to be around. Their parents surprised me by asking if I would house sit and babysit for the King boys over spring break while they traveled. And I said, sure. I loved these kids. I was moved by an unexpected experience. First, encountering their home. There was a room that was filled floor to ceiling and wall to wall with hundreds and hundreds of books. And they told me that that was their father's book collection. And I thought, wow, what would it be like to have read all those books? And I looked around a home that was full of loving touches, intentional choices to create a beautiful place to grow up. And I was moved by the intention that was part of these boys' lives that I'd never glimpsed before. But even more so, I was moved and drawn in by how they treated each other in the absence of their parents. These three rowdy, barrel-a-monkey puppy kind of guys treat each other so tenderly when they got home from school. They were very considerate of each other in getting the table set, and then when it was time to tuck Andy into bed, the youngest, his two brothers were on the bed with him. They read to him. They kissed him goodnight. Next morning, they got breakfast out. It was very moving. And I never looked at the King boys the same way again. Where I'd always seen them from the outside, now I had a glimpse of their rich inner life as well. The accumulation of their younger selves, still vibrantly present within them. I now could see the home that these children brought to school with them every day. And it changed not only the way I looked at the King boys, but the way I looked at all of my students. It was a revelation. Western culture has a preoccupation with the idea of the individual, and it has served our culture well in many ways and not so well in other ways. But Eastern psychology has a powerful idea that we are in fact multi-voiced, that our inner lives are populated by the people in our lives, and that much of our thinking and experiences continually extend far beyond our skin. We think together. We feel together. We grow together. So we have a rich inner life populated by the landscapes of home, neighborhood, vacations with families, and inhabited by our parents, our grandparents, our siblings, and later our teachers and our friends. This is the way in which we contain multitudes, as Walt Whitman talked about. I love this commencement moment because it makes visible in one place, in one time, this extraordinary community inside each one of the students on this stage. We see their parents, their grandparents, their siblings, their friends, the parents of their friends. We're in view of the meeting house and the contours of this beautiful landscape that you know so well. This is the inner life that you will bring to college that now is so apparent, but that we can lose and have a flickering attachment to when we get away. And so one thing I encourage is, how do you, in the wild adventure that college should be, how do you keep the deep roots of your loved relationships here as a ballast and as roots to your future experience? Then the final thing I want to mention, I've really been talking about minds and hearts, but the last thing I want to mention as we speak of inner life is spirit. Because from the moment you were born, you have had a capacity to respond to the transcendent, the beautiful, the awe-inspiring, the complex. And that is an inheritance of who you are as a human being, and you needed no instruction in that. You only need to go to any 3- and 4-year-old classroom to see how readily, as human beings, we are wired to respond to transcendent experience. What happens as we grow up, and as we get purpose-driven, is sometimes we forget to seek out the transcendent. And here we've tried to create those spaces in moments of silence, in the meeting house, in exploring this campus, we've tried to create spaciousness for the important questions. And I hope that that is something, too, that you'll be able to keep alive as you take your next steps out into the world. So, 318, class of 2015, you are loved. And so much love follows you from this place into a really, really wonderful world where you will find your place and do amazing things. Thank you for everything you've contributed to this community in your time here. And please, please stay close to us. We do indeed love you. Benjamin Book Hollinger. I'm moving this way. Okay. Cora S. Prokrifka. Yushio Lian. Yuhan. Haley Arup Russell. I got you, Mira. Mira Lynn Maloney. Patrick T. Flynn. Thomas B. Flynn. Hao Lee. Changzhang Zhu. Jan Lytle Hall, Jr. William Christopher Zecchi Bounds. Dorian S.F.R. Corrine. Andrew Lawrence Neminsky. Aiden Briggs Eldada. Jiayi Liao. Alexandra Kaylee Marie Weiss. Jasper Callum West. We'll get this act together, I promise. Joshua R. Spellman Hall. Jessica Grace Vorse. Morgan Maria Burrell.
Go ahead, girl.
Shannon Brianna Wilson. Lauren Kai Smith. Drayton J. Lomax. Kira M. Jones.
Congrats, baby.
Nadira Ayana Adric. Julia Isabel Shepard. Sabrina Lou Chow. Charles David Starr. Jonah Einbender Ahmet. Nicholas Michael Sperger. Lan Wei. Yang Tsao. Ella Lavinia Louise Perkins. Rachel Lauren Katz. Carly Elizabeth Latta. Celeste Mariel McDonald. Alexandra Marie Bailey. Hannah Alice Locke. Bridget Beauty Warliak. Ayana Woods. Erica Christina Grooms. Julia Rachel Stensky. Monica Jacqueline Ross. Claudia Mary Sessa. Tatiana Luz Deguigi. Amir Markle Robinson. Justin Edward Morton Jr. Zoe Aaron Long. Nina Faye Bedrick. Jacqueline Yelena Kope-Garatsky. Douglas Lawrence Garza. Matthew Cozen. Okay. Maxwell Aaron Newman. George Joseph Nash. Samuel Max Levy. Austin Tyler Levin. Jalen Elizabeth Clark. Courtney Nicole Schmidt. Benjamin Logan Foreman. Abigail Bacall. Yuanshin Luau. I guess we're, no. Brian R. Venetianer. Ladies and gentlemen, the 318th class of Abington Friends School.